in terms of the pending bills. I yield back, Chair.
Governor, maybe a quick response so
Mr.
that we
Chair,
can
take
make progress.
The first question on gratuity. If you look at the financial year in question, it's 2021 and 22. These are staff who are attached to the office of the former governor. They're retired and they're entitled to a gratuity. If this Senate committee wants the names of those officers, we can provide them.
I think on that, perhaps our concern would be if this is a claim that was filed in 2021, we are assuming that these were staff of the former governor. What are the reasons why you are still holding about 52 million due to them? Because the human thing or the humane thing would have been to settle and let them move on with their lives.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. His Excellency has asked me to respond on the question. First, allow me address why the moving target is Honorable Cherarike is referring to. Actually, it's not a moving target. I wanted us to bring a proper perspective to the issue of pending bills, and we have the Office of the National Treasurer here, and also we have our representative from ISPAC. Honorable Chair, we have a deadline of accrual implementation of up to next financial year. And our obligation is to ensure that we continuously verify accounts payables and accounts receivables so that we can bring them to the face of the financial statement.
Just for Trans Nzoia, but for all the 47 county governments. I know people who are suffering, who served in previous administrations, and their gratuities have not been paid. It is unacceptable. We members of parliament, when you leave parliament, your gratuity is paid within 6 months or even less. Why should someone dedicate their service, time and life? You people surrounding the governor, one day you'll be out of office. You will want to be paid your gratuity. Will it be justifiable for you to wait for 4 years? Because in this schedule, since 9th of June 2021, you have withheld 26 million as gratuity to county officers attached to the governor's office and withheld another 26 million as gratuity owed to other staff. Is this, even before we go to the financial and legal matters, is it fair to keep someone waiting for 4 years, having served the county government of Trans Nzoia? Knowing that even you guys one day, because after 10 years, the governor will become something else. I don't know what they're planning with Sifuna. But after 10 years, you will not be working for the governor. Do you want to be treated in a similar manner?
Yeah, but they don't look like they have a plan.
It's very unfair, Honorable Chair, but I may demonstrate that we have actually commenced payment. What I was raising is that we were not able to pay because of the budgetary allocation, but two, we also...
No, officer and governor. I think you might need to take the mic because your officer is being simplistic. There are people who used to work in the office of the former governor. Weren't they entitled to gratuity? Was that a legal entitlement?
They were.
Yes, they were entitled to gratuity.
Yeah.
The date of their invoice is 9th of June 2021. Of course, the governor was not in office. What is wrong in terms of prioritization of everything else that you must do? Would it be governor, and I don't know why your officer is not getting this point, because even him one day he'll be demanding gratuity.
Mr. Chairman,
why should it take 4 years?
We get the point. The issue majorly is this, that money is deducted from an employee. This money is supposed to be remitted somewhere for payment of gratuity when they retire. The unfortunate bit is that money is not remitted. So when you come in office, an employee knows that the money was deducted from their salary, but was it remitted to the body that's supposed to pay them the gratuity? It wasn't. That's why now we're making a budget provision for it to pay, because the money was not remitted. Otherwise, when it be remitted, the payment of credit would have been automatic, just present they are paid. But there is no money at the pension fund to pay them.
Whose responsibility was it to do the remittance? Because again, control of budget, when salaries are requisitioned, isn't there provision for that portion that ought to go into gratuity?
Thank you, Chair. When salaries are requisitioned, they are requisitioned as gross amounts, including all those deductions.
So, Governor, just put yourself in the shoes of that former employee. They have worked, they have committed, they left their professions. Maybe some of them were in Ngao like you. They came to work for the county, only to be told at the 11th hour that, I am sorry, someone misallocated your money, so we can't help you. And the person who misallocated your money, there's nothing you are doing about them. So you're just telling that former employee, wait until the day we have a budget. Let's put ourselves in their shoes.
Mr. Chairman, it is unfortunate because if you are paying this money, the expectations, because it's not your responsibility to follow where the money has gone. Normally it happens to you at the time you've retired and you want to get your gratuity, and it's not there. So really, it is unfortunate. I am alive to that, and that's why in my regime, we remit this money as we pay salaries. We do not have any arrears. We are talking about a problem with inheritance. I know you're going to tell me that governments are permanent and I must not take responsibility. That's why I'm not running away from it. I've taken it upon myself. I've not even asked where the money is. We're making a budget provision to pay this money, and then we go check where the money that was deducted went. Of course, the argument has always been that they were paying net salaries, and therefore there was no money that was being deducted to be remitted anywhere. So the money was not lost. Yeah, that's the debate that we've been happy to say. Instead of engaging in that debate and people are suffering out there, can we just look for money, put in the budget and pay? And from 2024, actually we've been paying. We've been paying these people.
So then what commitment are you making? Because it cannot be we are looking for a budget. Out of your 2.569 billion, can't you prioritize this 52 million?
Mr. Chairman, I talk about 98 million, which was a variance, and the list.
No. I've reduced it. Out of that 98, 52 million relates to 2 invoices.
Yes.
Out of the 98.
Can we give a commitment that we're going to give it a priority when we do our supplementary budget in March?
Am I misinterpreting it? Because gratuity means you know that your governor is going home, but you are confident that when the new government takes office, you will get something like, is it 31%, depending on the scheme? So this has nothing to do with lap fund or lap trust. This is an internal inefficiency. And I wish you would have met the people I've met who are complaining about these habits, and that's why I must insist that this must be separated from even the other lap fund or long-standing historical issues, because it's about individuals, human beings who are suffering for a mistake that was not of their making. Senator Cherarke.
I think, Chair, what we are saying is that looking at this issue of employees' benefits, and even with the pending bill, it is very important, because I know if we were to bring breakdown of the pending bills of 2.5 billion that has been provided here, you will find there are so many people and businesses, people in Trans Nzoia County who are being owed money, and it means a lot to them, Chair. Chair, what I wanted to say, and I think if the governor had provided the extract of the budget, we would not be shooting in the dark, because we are now using his word to say he partially allocated, for example, on the 98 million or even 52 million that we have alluded to the staff. So, Chair, I think let us not gloss over this issue of pending bills or trade payables, because it is what is eating counties. And we have situations, Chair, where fictitious payments have been paid by some entities. So we cannot just close. And finally, Chair, it would be prudent in future that this schedule of employees should not only be a one line of saying people work with the governor's office, cry to or to other staff. Who are these other staff? And these are a lot of millions of shillings, 52 million shillings, Chair. So we need to put the name to the money, so that that money and accountability can be put into focus, because this is a public money that must be held into account. So the issue of gratuity, Chair, I don't think it is a privilege to any person. They must be paid as a matter of right that has been provided legally. Chair, on the pending bills of 2.5 billion, 2.56 billion, Chair, I recommend that the county must provide us with a payment plan. I am aware the control of budget is here. Provide with us who are these people. We have seen situations where people have 100,000, 200,000, 50,000 Kenya shillings have been audited. It means a lot to them, Chair. And that is why, you know, I had some people saying the other day, the Nyota program giving people 22,000, 50,000 is small money. But there are some counties who they owe up to 20,000, 50,000, Chair. So, Governor, as you go back, this 2.5 billion belongs to Kenyans, and there is no option. You must pay. You must pay. And it is good you are friends with Sifuna. Sifuna should advise you to pay. I think that would be the easiest way. If you want us, and maybe in Luya language, so that this thing can be...
Order, Senator.
Mr. Chairman,
order.
I can respond in lawyer.
No. I know in certain parts of the country when it gets to 1:30, the only thing people are hearing is a smell of something. So I think let's get back to the English, otherwise we'll start thinking about lunch.
Yeah, I think, Chair, we cannot flog this maybe further, but you need to give some direction. We've given this issue of pending bills a lot of prominence because it's an important thing. I remember one time some 9 senators, me included, jumped to the former CS's office, Ukuri Atan, to try and advise him to stop releasing funds to counties who are not honoring pending bills. So I think this analysis of pending bills must have come from a document of verification. Can we get that document, if it is there? Then number 2, let us get that aging analysis, which includes all the pending bills and when they were incurred. And number 3, as Senator Chargei is saying, a payment plan. For the 450 million, maybe this financial year, when else will the other money be paid? Then we try to follow through for that payment to be done.
Fine, so I subscribe to that, but the only thing that will direct immediately is the control of budget. In terms of requisitions from Trans Nzoia County, those first 2 items, gratuity to county officers attached to the governor's office, they are older than 3 years because they are 2021. They're actually 4 years old. It is the recommendation of this committee that the control of budget does not approve any requisition until those gratuities that are older than 4 years, a payment plan is put in place or they are settled. It is only 52 million. I do not think it will cripple the entity. So in the other requests for detailed payment plans, I think when you are writing our reports, we'll subject it to the 60-day implementation period and the auditor will advise. But then again, auditor, this query was not properly captured, so it looks as if the Senate is the one doing the audit. If it was well done, we would be out of that matter. So let's proceed to the matter of deposits and retentions. Deposits and retentions, auditor, you confirmed that now you have a schedule.
Yes, I confirm we have a schedule, and likewise we have also the aging analysis, and we have also confirmed the same amount is in the bank.
So, Governor, you see why I was asking how the exit meeting was done. If on 18th December, the auditor reported that he didn't have a schedule, and today on 29th of January, he's telling us he has a schedule, we are wondering where is the problem?
You know, Mr. Chairman, during the exit meeting, of course, the auditor gives us the issue that they are flagged out. And before they do the letter, we are given some time to respond, to provide documents to support some of those issues that have been raised before they do the final letter. That's the time when we provide some of this information. So we don't provide them during the exit meeting. But I must admit, of course, after the exit meeting, some officers don't provide that information until when it's late.
The next one is inaccuracies in the statement of cash flows. Again, the auditor, you are telling us that this has now been addressed?
Yes, Chair. What the client provided or what the difference regarded to, or was related to assets which did not require cash outflow, either donations or issues like depreciation and such, which were being written back. So yes, I can confirm that the 144 million has now been addressed.
So then, under the financial statements, you had 4 qualifying issues. In your view, of course, the opinion can't change. But are the financial statements still qualified?
Chair, given the, I think the trade payables, which, as you mentioned, is almost a third of the budget, we don't seem to have conclusively can confirm that the actual pending bill is 2.5 because the verification process is still ongoing, and this was the situation as at 18th December when the certificate was issued. So it would still be qualified as of to date, given that one issue seems to still be not adequately addressed.
Senator Sifuna?
You know, Chair, there's a point you made one time about county entities fearing getting unqualified reports. I don't know what argument you had advanced that time, but it appears, Governor, that your team simply didn't want to get an unqualified report.
This one's unqualified, Mr.
No,
Chairman.
no,
If
no.
you look at it.
If you had addressed all those issues, if you had addressed all those issues in December, there would have been a different opinion. Chair, what was your argument for people not wanting unqualified reports?
They didn't want attention to be on them, particularly the technicians, because when you have an unqualified opinion, we come with a very cynical view. But I also take a very cynical view of this report. And I must, this one, Auditor General, you must do a more rigorous job. It cannot be this committee to ask you why you didn't ask this question. And doing a rigorous job is not about persecution or anything. It's about helping the entity to improve their practices. So I don't want us to poke holes in the report of the Auditor General. Let's take it as it is. But now let's go to the other aspects of lawfulness and effectiveness.
For us, we've, as a county, we are determined to have unqualified reports. And actually had agreed that any chief officer with any audit query, they'll just go home. And now we have advertised all the vacancies because they are audit queries. So, you know, some they just want to play around with. What they want to kufanya interview tena because of this issue that have been raised in the audit.
So one standard recommendation we'll make on all the 4 issues that you have attempted to explain. We'll be asking the governor to take administrative action on the officers who did not provide the documents at the time of audit, and we'll also be invoking the provisions of Section 62 of the Public Audit Act, which criminalizes that kind of practice. So even though you have explained it, but there has to be some consequences. The senior counsel, the only man in this room who has been president of something, can go on record.
Yes, Chairman, my name is Kongo Mogeni, Senator of Nyamira and a member of this committee. Thank you.
Karibu.
I never went on record. I just commented on something.
Oh yeah, please.
For those of us who doesn't know, my name is Senator Mwenda Kataya, more fire, Mraganidi county member of this committee.
Karibu. Informally, we call him the Assistant Deputy President because he's a friend to our friend, the Professor. So let's go to the other section on lawfulness and effectiveness in use of public resources. I think this is the first report I'm seeing where the auditor has not queried, the auditor has not said unsupported expenditure, irregular procurement. It is looking too good to be true. But let's go to what is before us. Governor, I know you're also surprised. Too good to be true.
Chair, if I may mention, all the 4 issues actually fall under unsupported and supported.
No, Auditor, these are bookkeeping things. Fine, let's proceed.
Yeah.
Lawfulness.
For lawfulness, what I would say, actually, the governor has concentrated on prior projects or projects started earlier on. So the procurement issues might not be new. They are a bit aged. So.
Fine, let's just go point by point. Failure to appoint a steering committee for migration to accrual reporting. Governor, you are cited by the National Treasury. We had a meeting with them 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they indicated that you had not established this committee. Has it been established? And if yes, when was it established? Steering committee for migration to accrual reporting.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I want to confirm that the steering committee has been appointed in place and it has held one meeting. The members were appointed on 27th of November 2025. That's under Appendix 4A on page 40 of our document.
Auditor General, on 27th of November 2025, you had not exited the county. How come you reported that they failed to appoint the steering committee?
That evidence was not provided. However, we were also looking at financial statements up to that 30th of June 2025. So I believe these are some of the actions happening as a result of our audit reports, either the management letter or the preliminary reports that we had given to the county. Thank you, Chair.
When were they supposed to establish them? What was the cutoff?
The letter from Treasury was on 1st of April 2025. 14th. Yeah, 14th of April. So anytime, maybe April, May, June.
So we shall recommend the governor takes administrative action on the responsible officer who was supposed to establish this, because even though it has been done late. It ought to have been in place earlier to help in things like depreciations, amortization, liabilities, and all these things that are coming in with accrual accounting. Now, the failure to establish the committee, did it have a bearing on the financial statements or on financial reporting? OAG?
Yes, actually the things we are struggling with, including the pending bills, as the chief officer mentioned, that the mandate of this committee is on receivables and payables. So yes, they do have a bearing on the financial statements. Thank you, Chair.
So let's go through the statements and see that implication. The next one was on compliance with 1/3 basic salary rule. I think this we can keep in view because we understand that there could even be new NHIF rates. And the chair of the Delegated Legislation Committee has just walked out. We wanted to find out whether he has subjected those rates to public participation. So it looks like this problem will persist as long as we keep changing the tax regime for the employed. I hope we can get oil so that we stop raiding people's pockets. Persons with disability, non-compliance with employment requirements. You are at 1% against a target of 5%. Is this an improvement or you are regressing?
Just maintain, Mr. Chairman. And we've not been carrying out recruitment of late because of matters of wage bill. But we give a commitment that once we advertise, because we are going to employ nurses in due course, we'll encourage people, persons with disabilities to apply. Mr. Chairman, they have to apply first. If they don't apply, then they cannot be considered.
I think you are giving us a dangerous and a bit insensitive answer, because this law, we passed it just last year in 2025. So perhaps a better approach would be to say that you will progressively implement the provisions of that law. I think if we argue that they are not applying, then it means that even the law is not applicable. This was Senator Crystal Asige's bill, which we all passed, and I think everyone celebrated. And I believe, I don't know whether there were certain transitional clauses in it, but I think a better approach would be a progressive implementation. I don't know, Senator Morgan.
Though I think the governor is right. They must first apply. You see, if you don't apply for employment, you will not be employed. I think his response.
But between the 2025 when we passed the law and today, has there been an opportunity for them to apply?
We haven't advertised any positions. That's why I say we're going to apply to advertise for nurses. And when they apply, we'll make a provision of 5%. But they must apply for those slots for them to be considered, for the 5%. Yeah.
Liz, in your response, you're saying you made an advert and only very few applied. Is that factual or is just a generic statement? Because I'm looking at his response, and he says very few applied, and those who applied did not meet the minimum requirements.
No, this thing is a consumer requirement. We've been applying even before this law came into place. No, we are applying revenue officers, economists, and they did not apply. I think the most important thing for me from where I sit is to give consideration in terms of requirements. If maybe it's a D plus for everybody, can you make it maybe a D minus? Because of the challenge they go through even to get that D plus, not like people who are able.
Chair, through you, Governor, we have previously rejected this argument that somehow certain people don't apply for positions. I remember when we were discussing this issue of ethnic balance, you cannot tell me that a Kikuyu staying in Kitale will refuse to apply for a job, and then there's a colleague of yours who came and told us that people from outside that county do not apply for jobs. You and me as political leaders know what exactly is happening in our counties, because there are people who think certain counties belong to certain people, so that if you come from Bungoma, you can't apply for a job in Trans Nzoia. They will tell you, nyinyi muko na yenu. Especially because of the special nature of PWDs. I agree with you. This is an affirmative action measure, so that there have to be deliberate efforts to be able to get them to even apply. It is not something you just say they don't apply. We have rejected that argument here. And if you ask these senators here, actually Kenyans want to work. We are asked for jobs every day. They send me messages in the thousands saying, I just want to come even if I'm going to sweep your office. So it is not possible that you can say people don't apply. If you look at recruitments that happen at the national level, you are looking for 20 people, you get 50,000 applications. So, Governor, that argument that people don't apply for jobs, here we really don't agree with such arguments.
Maybe let's get all of this first so that you can respond at once.
Two things, Governor. One, this is a constitutional obligation. So, as Senator Sifuna has said that. Number two, out of 3,661, 51 employees are people living with disability. My question to the governor, how many people, including your partisan staff, have you employed, including casual employees? And finally, I thought in any advert, even if you open online or any, there always a red line that says PWDs and youth and women are encouraged to apply. So I thought that is how you encourage. Senior council, it is not that they refuse to apply. For some of us who have interacted with the officials from PWD Council, they even have their own ID if you have doubt. So, Chair, I agree with Senator Sifuna that argument is neither here nor there. Or, Governor, maybe it's courtesy of your normal rhetoric. It could be the essence.
Order. I think one of the things, maybe Governor, actually you're the one who's causing yourself problems, because the Auditor General is referring to a law, a 2025 law. All of us supported that bill by Crystal Asige. In fact, this provision was quite contentious, but we stood with her, we stuck with her. And this law was passed, was it mid of 2025 or late 2025? around mid or later in 2025. One of the things we ought to do is to give it some time and do a legislative impact assessment. But anyway, I think in your view, even if we give it time, perhaps nothing will change.
Mr. Chairman, people with disabilities are encouraged to apply. But how do you enforce that encouragement? Other than putting the paper that maybe 3/4 of them haven't read that are being encouraged to apply. Maybe for me, from where I sit, I think if you make a provision of 5%, that provision must be reserved for people with disabilities, and you must fill it. If they don't apply, you look for them and ensure that they...
Let me just ask you a question.
Yes.
When you put out an advert as the county government of Trans Nzoia, do you make it accessible to PWDs? Like, for instance, a blind person, how do you make sure they can see that ad? Because we have to think about these things in terms of access, and I wish Crystal was here today, because many of us who are able-bodied do not actually see the challenges of these people. So we must think about it as a country, because...
What we do, Mr. Chairman, people living with disabilities in Trans Nzoia, they have got an organization. And when we do these adverts, like the one for economists and revenue officers, the chair is called and told, have your people apply. But the challenge has been that most of them do not have these minimum requirements to be considered for these jobs. So basically, they don't apply because you have said you need a D plus. At Form 4, it doesn't have it. They want to apply, but they won't.
A point of order, allow me, you are getting into trouble. You want to tell us PWD, I know PWDs who are well-read and well-qualified.
Governor and
it will be unfair
members
to provide PWD that they are not qualified. I can bring him 100.
We cannot have a conversation about they, because then that implies them versus us.
Yes.
You know, that the tone of that conversation is even wrong. So,
there's a point I think we can carry. What Governor is saying is we consider amending the law to reduce the minimum qualifications for PWDs, which I think makes a lot of sense. If you want to recruit somebody with a minimum D+, for PWD, it should be D, because I think we're getting data which will help us, showing that most of our PWDs don't attain the minimum requirements, so they are knocked off at maybe shortlisting. Just a minute.
Yeah, let's
just a minute. You know, we're having a conversation this side and that side, and some of the information that comes here can get input into our report, and we recommend that we amend the law further so that we create lesser stringent qualifications for PWDs, and from where I'm sitting, makes a lot of sense.
I think then that comes back to us, because we are the ones who passed this law last year. But this committee, of course, we can make recommendations, but as at now, we are dealing with the law as it is. Senator Ombua, then we close this and move.
Thank you, Chair. One, I think it should never go on record that this committee sat and entertained a conversation that seems to be profiling PWDs. I mean, that should never happen. Chair, the thing to consider is exactly what Senior Counsel is saying. And the ball is here. It's in our court. Because you see, Chair, without appearing to speak for the governor, the governor is telling you his reality. That is his reality on the ground. That is the challenge that he is facing on the ground. For us, we are guided by the law, which may not apply as it should in every county in this country. So, Chair, as I said in the morning, these conversations also give us opportunities to think through legislations that we have passed. So, if the reality in Trans Nzoia is that this category of people are not applying because perhaps the threshold is beyond what they have. What can we do? Is that replicated in other counties? And if that is the case, what can be done to address the situation? I think.
But just for my own curiosity, who set the law that somebody must have a D+ for you to be a driver, for example? You know, I've always wondered. We have VTCs training people, mechanics, drivers, but when it comes to our adverts, we say you must have a D+ from 4, I don't know D+. Where is that law, legal counsel? You may think there's no law like that. You can just decide people who are supposed to be to work in the environment, sweepers, come with a Form 4 certificate or with a Class 8 certificate and they're employed. We'll be able to get PWDs from that.
Chair, with your indulgence, a quick observation. I want to reject the notion that PWDs are not qualified. That's pedestrian, Chair. Because every job has a description. Even when we're hiring the IEBC commissioners, any independent officers, you'll always find PWD people who are qualified for those positions. Chair, I remember when we were processing the County Attorney Act, when I was chair and then, I used to be powerful, Sifuna, before you came. When I was the chair and then, one of the requirements was that we need a county attorney who is 7 years experience as a practicing advocate. Many people rejected, especially from certain parts of this country, saying you cannot get a lawyer who can come and work, for example, in a region like Mandera or somewhere in Busia. But when the law passed, there were so many advocates who applied for those positions. So it is similar argument, Chair, that we should not reduce this conversation to the qualifications of PWDs. These are affirmative decisions that the governor must give us practical solutions to this issue, because if we just leave this room and the governor says, you know, the PWDs are not mostly qualified, I can tell you for free from my interactions as a leader in this country, there are so many PWDs people who are qualified. And by the way, they are talented in some ways that some of you might not believe. So that might not believe, Chair. So, Chair, let me rest it there. But I just wondered, because Governor has captured it very well by saying this is an affirmative position. That's why I asked a simple question. Out of these 69 employees, 51 of them are PWDs. I asked him a simple question. How many, since he came to office, including maybe even partner staff? You can say one of my partisan staff is a PWD, for example. So my question, Chair, if the governor can just answer, I know there have been a staff attrition, a few hiring. How many since he came to office that he has hired, including even his own partisan staff?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I can answer that question very fast. But you see, to say that I said that no people living with disabilities who are not qualified in Kenya is completely missing the point, and misinterpreted what I was saying. I didn't mean that. Number two, at the very senior level in the county government of Trans Nzoia, I have got a CC, who is a person living with disability and is here. I have a chief officer who is on a wheelchair. How many counties are like that in this country?
I think just speak for Trans Nzoia.
Those are very, very deliberate efforts that we make for purposes of inclusion. And that's why I'm proposing that every time you say 5% is reserved for people with disabilities, can it be reserved? And will not be filled until we get people with disabilities from wherever. That can serve us better. Then it means we're going even to go down in terms of quality and wave. Mr. Chairman, I remember when I was in the provincial administration, we used to say that to be a chief, you must have a C, play. But there are counties in this republic where you couldn't get C anywhere. And there are chiefs who are employed with the KCP. They're on the payroll. The same can apply to people with disabilities. Like Honorable Sifuna was saying, in this country, how many people with visual impairment has KCS certificates? There are very, very, very few. So if you are rigid and you are saying everybody applying for this position must have these minimum qualifications, then we are going to lock out all these people, in spite of the fact that we have made provisions for them.
Now, we need to close this argument. If you go by the...
Maybe you can just stand, you see him.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, you can see the disability, really.
No, it's okay. We don't want... Just take your seat. Just take your seat.
Honorable Chair, let me make a contribution to that very important debate. Maybe we must come from a point of some information. I come from a village, we are 4, and we sit as a community. 3 of them never went beyond class 8. And when the jobs are advertised, the minimum requirement cuts across. I think, Honorable Chair, with a lot of respect, it is incumbent to this Honorable House to come with a favorable law, considering the type of problems that people with disability go through. A lot of the ceiling is just too tight for the people with disability to break. So the minimum requirement is where the
in the 2025 Crystal Asige law, in your assessment as a person living with disability, what is the deficiency?
It is the best law for us people with disability, but I don't think it considered all the parameters that needed to be considered.
If we tasked you to advise us on the amendments that should be made, because we have done our bit as Parliament, just last year in 2025, we passed a law, so that we are not just talking. We are the ones who write the laws. You are the one living with that reality. Would you be willing to do so?
The law is very progressive, and I am willing to give meat to that law, together with the rest that are outside.
Fine. So let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. For now, this committee, our benchmark is a law as it is, and if it is not fulfilled, there are offences in the Act, and it is those offences that we'll refer to. Even though Senator Cherargei, you remember 2-3 days ago, the Star newspaper had a headline which would imply that 90% of men in Nairobi are living with a disability. So this conversation might apply to you.
I think, Chair, that question should be answered properly by the area senator. If it was a matter of Nandi, I can have a local standby. But Sifuna is doing badly, we cannot account.
Chair, you know, it is these people who come from up country are the ones who are messing up the statistics in Nairobi. These ones from Nandi.
They are the majority of your voters.
Okay.
Speak for your men.
Speak for your men. Don't run away from responsibility.
Those of us who are in the 1%, let us now proceed. Fine. So I think there's one of the Alcoholic Control Fund. We have seen the written responses, some correspondences with a view to establishment of regulation. Let's keep that in view. The procurement capacity building levy. This one is, we are, as senators, we are struggling to understand how it works, but we'd be happy to get the view of the governor as a person with the boots on the ground. I see it coming as an audit query in almost every other county. 0.03% of all signed contracts should be put aside somewhere for capacity building. Trans Nzoia is not doing it. Why aren't you doing it, Governor?
Mr. Chairman, we've given our reasons, and very many of them, and I think most of them cut across the...
We could take your written responses, but allow you to highlight the critical areas.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, the reasons for non-deduction and remittance of the public procurement capacity building levy include: 1, absence of system-based controls and configuration. Unlike established statutory deductions such as withholding tax and retention, if MIS has not yet been configured to automatically flag, calculate, or detect the 0.03% capacity building levy. In the absence of automated system logic, the platform processes payments to completion without triggering an alert for the missing deduction, thereby bypassing standard electronic controls.
Just a minute. It's a detailed response.
At page 49. Page 49.
And I think you have given the reasons why.
Yes.
What was of concern to this committee when we are reviewing this? We are asking ourselves, this 0.03%, that is deducted from all your procurement contracts in Trans Nzoia.
Amount of money.
How does it, assuming you are deducting it, you are not deducting it, but assuming you are deducting it, how do you expect to get it back in terms of value, in terms of capacity building? Is that something that your procurement people have advised you on? Because we are also asking ourselves, this is another tax. If this country has a 4 trillion budget and we assume that 1 trillion are procurement contracts, then this fund would have automatically 3 billion in a year, which is quite big. It's as big as a universal service fund. How do you anticipate that you're getting value back, or will use it to build the railway to Malaba?
No, in fact, Chair, this is a point where Cherargei can help us, because his friends are very keen to impose all sorts of levies everywhere. But even for us at the party, it was an audit query at this financial year that we are supposed to remit this, is it called a levy? And I think the operational period was beginning of November of 2024, I think. And that is why many of us were caught unawares. I think the argument should be that then the Public Procurement Oversight Authority uses this fund to be able to grow the capacity of procurement professionals within these institutions. There's actually no other justification, and we don't know where to send this money. Like the governor has said here, these other integrated levies are easy to deduct because there's already a system and you know where the money is going. For this one, only Cherargei can tell us where is this money. Why is it necessary for this levy to exist?
No, I must protect Senator Cherargei. He has
but Chair, you never protect me.
He has nothing.
He has gone through the entire list of my friends this afternoon. I've only mentioned once.
Chair, it is good I have friends who run this country. Number two, our journey to Singapore will involve a lot of sacrifice. You need to read a book by Liu Q that's from the third to first word.
Chair, you can't allow Singapore to come here. Please.
I know the reason why Singapore is mad.
Don't allow
campaign. I'm just answering. What
you are crawling. You have not started walking. So when you reach
Singapore, don't allow you to come here.
Let's come back.
And you know, Chair, this Cherargei has been very active in those empowerment programs. Maybe the part of that money funds are those empowerment.
Yeah, you need now to protect me.
Let me protect Senator Cherargei. Governor, I think maybe going back to the critical point is that if this is coming off your procurement, it's really coming from the money that the senator sent to the county. Yeah. It is coming 0.3% is coming back to the center. So do you have visibility on what it is going to do to strengthen the supply chain in the county?
No, we don't have. And then number two, of course, many of our officers in this line are professionals. That trained. So when you go maybe for one of training under this levy, how often will you be going for these trainings and are they relevant? Because at the end of the day, really, it's going to be a lot of money, but we don't know to what use the money is going to go to. But then when you are told it's a levy that you are supposed to pay, if you don't, there'll be an audit query. We start complying without really asking ourselves, what is this money going to be used for? And then the case, even if I asked, what's going to be done, Madam Chairman?
No,
Governor, said this money.
Governor, asking is not futile because we are fortunate. In this committee, we have the chair of the Delegated Legislation Committee of the Senate, a very powerful gentleman called Senator Gataya. I don't know, Senator Gataya, this was introduced through Legal Notice 206 of the Levy Order 2023. In my understanding of statutory instruments, shouldn't these have been subjected to this parliamentary approval?
Definitely. I don't know. I have not been able to go through the issue that is in question, but of course that's the requirement. Anything that is supposed to be need to be. I am saying, Chair, let me just make some reference and give some correct.
Okay. Yeah. So we need to query whether the procurement capacity building levy was subjected to the provisions of the Statutory Instruments Act. Because any tariff, any levy, any order, any bylaw, regulations, etc., are supposed to be processed through
the position, Honorable Chair. Actually, we are trying to empower the county assemblies to that effect. We have been going around the county assemblies to enrich them with that kind of information. Because we have a lot of county assemblies, the county executive, which arbitrarily keep some regulations without following the right procedure. In the levy, anything that is supposed to touch on the people must also be subjected to those scrutiny. That is scrutiny.
Fine, so we'll take note of the challenges as cited, but we, as Parliament, will also reflect on whether this levy is lawful and whether it is
Chair, you see, there's a point that you raise which is getting lost. The point of the Senate sending money to counties, and then through a regulation, part of that money goes back to the center. And there is no reverse gear. There's no way of now that money finding its way back to the county to do exactly what the regulations say it should do, the building of capacity. So the people of Trans Nzoia will be told that they got this X amount of money in a financial year, but a part of that money came back to the center and it doesn't find its way back to Trans.
As it goes to the center auditor, where does it land? Do you audit that money when it goes to the center?
Which fund does it go to?
Yes.
It should, yeah, it's collected at e-citizen, and we...
Well, e-citizen ni kikapu ya kama ya sadaka. But where does it go to eventually? It should go to, a levy should go to a fund. Fuel levy goes to RMLF. Railway levy goes to relevant fund. So I think, members, let's do some background on this so that we can also protect county governments from predatory practices, if this is the case.
Chair, you direct the chair delegated to provide us with the information on this instrument.
Yes, the clerks of two committees will cross-reference to confirm whether it was approved, and if it was not approved by Parliament, then we must demand that it comes back.
Well, Madam Chair, I will have to instruct my secretary to go into that one and find out whether those regulations was objected to the relevant scrutiny.
Okay. It was actually an order. It was not even a regulation. I mean, can we be collecting taxes through orders? You know, we have donated a lot of powers to our cabinet secretaries, and yeah, it was a levy order, not even a regulation.
There's an arrangement that Cherargei is forcing you into, and it is the basis of all these problems.
Which arrangement? You know, I always arrange good things for the chair.
As
a colleague, not even eating lunch together. So,
you see, the Auditor General, when you don't do any serious things, now we have to end up in this conversation.
Yes. You order expansion of that arrangement by arrangement.
Yeah, I don't think the answer got it. Lack of Climate Change Fund Steering Committee, we are told that has now been put in place.
Yes, we got correspondence on the secretary, even though I note that the one on members is not attached, but we probably can...
I think to avoid wasting time on that, because without this, maybe even the flock arrangements will not
the chair is there, the committee is there, Mr. Chairman, and I chair the committee.
Fine, let's progress. Yeah. Let's go to road maintenance. Natembeya, Virginia Road, Kwanza K Ward. The problem there was that your BQs was for 3.5 meters. You only deliver 2.5 meters. You're supposed to plant 1,000 trees. You never planted any trees. Governor, who ate the trees that were supposed to be planted on this road?
Is that a written response, Mr. Chairman? There was supposed to be 100 seedlings. So the specified 100 seedlings were delivered and received in accordance with the procurement procedures. However, because of unfavorable weather conditions, planting was delayed. The seedlings are currently stored at the roads and manufacture yard and will be planted once the weather permits, at the onset of rains, of course.
Were they 100 or 1,000?
When were they? 1,000 trees.
The auditor cited 1,000. You are talking of 100.
1,000 trees.
1,000.
There's a typo there.
So, Governor?
1,000.
It's supposed to be 1,000 trees.
There's 1,000 seedlings. It's a typo in the response.
We have to confirm ziko mahali.
What about the width? From 3.5 to 2.5?
The response is that encroachment along the road reserve affected the available carriageway width. To address this, the department will engage in public sensitization and coordinate with the county surveyor to demarcate road reserves for future purposes. Some people have actually constructed on the road reserve and becomes very difficult to open up this road.
So, OAG, as you had said, keep this in view because the amounts you have cited is 120,000, 1.9 million. Of course, that amount put together can build an ECD classroom, so it's not frivolous. But keep it in view so that in the implementation period you can inform us. By the time we are coming back, the rains will have come. Let's see whether we'll have the same story from the government. And I think that applies to Kisawai, Chekui, Mima Junction Road. They were the same issues.
Yeah,
It's just
true,
that
Chair.
the number of trees were different.
250.
Let's go to Kenyatta Stadium, Rehabilitation and Modernization Phase 1A. This one we had agreed we needed to spend some time on. Read your finding.
Thank you, Chair. Delayed completion of Kenyatta Stadium Rehabilitation and Modernization Phase 1A. Review of procurement documents provided for audit revealed that the Department of Gender contracted for proposed rehabilitation and modernization of Kenyatta Stadium Phase 1A, Kitare, at a cost of Kenya shillings 657,305,895 on 1st of February 2023 for a period of 640 days. The amount already paid to the contractor as at 30th June 2025 was Kenya shillings 425,307,880, or about 65% of the total contract sum. The provided performance bond expired on 31st January 2025 and had not been renewed as at the time of audit. Rehabilitation and modernization works are still ongoing despite the expiry of the contract period. No evidence of request for variation or extension of the contract period was provided for audit. Physical inspection on 12th June 2025 revealed that works were ongoing. However, there was a dispute on the boundary beacons which was yet to be resolved and unauthorized occupation had taken place. In the circumstances, the value for money on expenditure incurred on the rehabilitation and modernization of the stadium project has not yet been realized. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, your response?
Mr. Chairman, our management response. The contract for the rehabilitation and modernization of Kenyatta Stadium, Phase 1A, was awarded on 1st February 2023 at the contract sum of Kenya shillings 657,305,895 for a duration of 730 days, initially set to end on 28 February 2025. The project is currently at 7% complete. An extension of time was granted on 16 December 2025 and a revised completion date from 1st November 2025 to 28th February 2026. The contractor accordingly renewed the performance bond expiring 28th February 2026. It's attached. A section of the stadium that was recovered, but later the people who had illegally occupied went to court and the matter is pending in court. However, beacons on undisputed areas have been placed and the contractor instructed to proceed with construction of the perimeter wall. Mr. Chairman, we have attached our evidence under appendices 1A, 11A, 11B, 11C, 11D, running from page 60 all the way to page 71.
Okay, so OAG, you had queried a valid contract. The governor has submitted an extension of time. Does that address that concern?
Yes, it does, as well as the performance bond, both which have been renewed in December 2025. Thank you.
And Governor, what is the financial implication of this extension?
We are yet to do the calculations. Some of the delays were caused by us, especially the delay in handing over the site, and some of the delays actually were occasioned by the contractor himself. So when they put in the request for variation, is when they're going to have these discussions. But so far they haven't.
So this is something ongoing, even as you speak, works is ongoing on the ground?
Yes, the contractor is on site.
It means it has moved from the initial 67%. It is now at...
It's about 72% now.
About 72%?
Yes.
So it's work in progress?
Actually, the last extension we gave him was on agreement that he completes the works by the end of next month, end of February.
Okay. Honorable members, considering that it's work in progress, Senator?
Yeah, just a small clarification. I see a variance in the project duration. The auditor is talking about 640 days. The governor is talking about 730 days. Which day do we go with?
The tender document had a problem. In words, they'd written 700 and what was in words? In words, it's 730, but in numerics, it was 640. So we agree that we go with what's written, the alphabet one.
Clarification on
Senator?
this issue of the section of the stadium that had been recovered. What size of it, and you didn't attach any proof that is in a court of law?
The matter is in court. Huh? The proceedings?
Are there any proceedings? I can see only up to pictorial evidence of
We can provide that.
Is it a matter that EACC was also involved, or was EACC involved on this matter, on the recovery proceedings of the land?
No.
No, also it was the county government that moved to court to recover?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe, Chair, during report writing, you can get the citation of court matter, then it will put to the issue. So finally, when I have seen in your comment, you have instructed of the perimeter wall and the matter is in court. Do these people who you are taken to court disturbing the contractor, or they have ceded ground and they have allowed the contractor to do the job?
Some have not. That's why we are saying on the portions where there's no matter in court, the contractor can proceed. But the biggest challenge now we have is that there is a highway from Gitale going to Swam. That when we do measurement of the stadium, actually that road is right in the middle of the stadium. And that's what has caused a bit of challenges in terms of putting up a perimeter wall. Where do we put it? Do we just put it on the road? And that road is also new, it's yet it has been completed. But it's right in the middle of the stadium. So those are some of the challenges that we are facing. Because when you set aside public space for a particular purpose and you don't use it, then you encourage a lot of encroachments. So people have come in, like people who went to court, actually, some of them had put up permanent buildings on the stadium land. So what we are working was just actually the land that was just available for the stands and for the playing area and maybe for the dais. But for the other utilities, we're going to have a challenge even going into the future.
Okay, members,
I think we should visit this project.
We could visit, but generally, from an accounting and audit perspective, since it's work in progress, and I'm assuming that there are tracks and works going on right now, we just keep the matter in view. The auditor will give us a further update in a period of 60 days. Unless there's any other observation, we can proceed to the multi-story business complex. Again, 874 million. Read your finding, and then we consider the governor's response.
Stalled construction of multi-story business complex. As reported in the previous years, the county executive awarded a contract for proposed construction of a multi-story business complex at a contract sum of Kenya shillings 874,280,383 to a local contractor on 25th June 2018 for a contract period of 731 days and expected completion date of 10th June 2021. The project's completion has delayed for over 4 years from the initial expected date of completion. The contractor has requested for extension of contract period 7 times, but no approvals were granted. Further, a memorandum of understanding on the core funding between the municipality and Ministry of Trade and ownership documents in the form of land title deeds or allotment letters were not provided for audit review. Physical inspection carried out on 17 June 2025 revealed that the contractor was not on site, and the inquiry from the clerk of works indicated that the project had stalled at 92% since August 2024. The total amount of money paid to date, according to summary of payment, including the most recent certificate paid on 4th February 2025, was Kenya shillings 818,183,930. In the circumstances, the value for money on the expenditure incurred on the project could not be confirmed. Thank you, Chair.
Governor.
Mr. Chairman, our management response. The multi-story business center was co-funded by various county government departments as per that table below. Requests for extension of contract period by the contractor have previously been approved by the project implementation committee. You can find that at appendix 12A. The contractor of the multi-story business complex abandoned site in 2024, and the contract has since come to an end at 95% completion. A further request for extension of time by the contractor dated 16 October 2025 was declined. We have put an appendix there, 12B. Currently, the county government, with the support of the national government, commits to complete, allocate, and operationalize the market by 31st March 2026. A 15-member committee was appointed on 10th December 2025 to allocate trader spaces at the market. You can find that at Appendix 12C. Further, the county government is in the process of obtaining ownership documents for the business complex land, and we have attached our correspondences to relevant bodies at Appendix 12D.
Now, Auditor General, all these appendices, I believe they were provided to you at the time of audit, but you still escalated this matter to the Senate.
Yes, Chair, I can confirm that this project is here as a result of value for money and not having been opened, or the facility opened to the public. So it's still a matter under our view.
Okay, so before we go to value for money, can we exhaust the lawfulness? Is everything done in accordance with the law in this project?
Thank you, Chair. From where we sit, yes, everything has been done according to the law. However, we notice that...
Auditor,
yes.
If they are building on land without land ownership documents, is that lawful?
Those are the exceptions that I wanted to mention.
Yeah, cite the law exceptions and the lawfulness.
The exception, of course, include the lack of title deeds or allotment letters for the land where the multi-story complex is built. There were also we did not see the approvals for the extensions, and the 12A that has been quoted, I think, does not seem to be attached as proof of those extensions. So those two issues. Probably, Chair, also on issue of law is that there's a claim by the contractor for what do they call it? I think it's arbitration. Probably that has not come out. That there's some ongoing arbitration and claim on this complex. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, as we even come back to the value for money, you have spent 818 million on this project, meaning that there's just about 56 million remaining to complete it. So, do you have a plan? Because having spent 818 million, it cannot be a white elephant. Is there a plan through budgetary provisions or intergovernmental agreements to close that gap of the 56, or are there variations that push it beyond the contract sum?
Mr. Chairman, at 95%, we believe this project was basically complete, and we had decided to allocate the slots to the business community. But the national government has come in and offered to assist with the remaining 5%, and that's why we have agreed that by the end of March, business people must occupy that place, come rain, come sunshine. That's where we are.
Senator Chirarke?
Governor, you have, as you have indicated, your response is 95% completion. Which aspects does that the national government comes to fill in terms of 5%? Because it looks like the project is complete. Number two, which aspects they're coming to fill up on the 5% aspect? And then looking at 95%, is 818 million 183. The extension, so it means by 31st March, as you have indicated in your management response, the business people will have started occupying this multi-story business center. And finally, maybe just so that we see value for money, can you, under 30 seconds, give us a sneak preview of the value it will bring to the business? Who are these people who will be operating? What is the numbers? So that in as much as we have spent close to $1 billion, does it give value to the people of Trans Nzoia? So give us that value that this business center. So, Chair, those are my questions. The aspect of 5% by the national government, and then number two, and maybe by extension, is it part of the national government come under what we are seeing now in our, and we open one in Kitui, and even in Natembeya and everywhere, the economic stimulus markets, the markets that are being built across the I don't know why the friend of our friend is laughing. Maybe you need to bring him to order.
No, occupy that place without doing them and complete them as our people occupy the place. It's majorly painting, connection of power. We had paid 5 million, but Kenya Power increased it to 15 million, and within now the national government can carry that. In terms of value for money, currently we have got about 5,000 people who are operating in open spaces by the roadside and so forth. We've carried the census, and we know this market is going to carry about 3,500 of them. So we are going to have our people operating, doing businesses in very good places. When there's too much sunshine, when there's too much rain, they'll be sheltered. This market is not part of the ESP program. This was undertaken by the county government in partnership with KDSP. With KDSP, it has taken a bit of time almost 8 years, 8 years now. And that's why we've committed to have it operationalized by that 1st of March. Intervention of the national government, notwithstanding, whether they come on board or not, that market will be occupied by that 1st of March.
Chair, is this the market that is close to the bus park? Yes. I was there once.
It shares the same land with the bus park. That's why we're not very worried about the title deed, because they're both owned by the county government and nobody is laying any claims to that land.
Okay, Senator Wambua, finally.
Chairman is to ask the Auditor General to keep that project in view for the good reason, Chair, that if the county government has done 95% of the project, and now the national government is coming in to say that they are supporting the project, let us be sure and ensure that the amount of money spent by the national government reflects the percentage of works that remain. This guy may come there and just saying, no, we have spent billions of shillings to do this market.
It should not be more than 60 million shillings. That 5% should not be more than 60 million shillings.
Fine,
Let's
so
keep that in view.
it works out to 56 million. So yeah, let's keep this in view. But also you'll appraise us, OAG, on whether there are other hidden costs. Because a contract that was executed in 2018, if it runs beyond that period, contractors tend to file claims so that we can have clarity on the total cost of delivering the market. So,
Mr. Chairman, the guy has gone to court, has gone to arbitration as we speak now. When we do not extend the contract, he has taken us to arbitration and he has made certain outrageous claims, but we are going to deal with those ones legally, because there's things that we can actually confirm and others that are just wishful thinking. So we'll just let him make whatever claims he wants and then we pay. We are going to defend the county very rigorously.
did you disclose that as a contingent liability in your financial statements?
No.
Because then you should.
He has just made a claim, it's not yet determined.
No. Even before determination, it's a contingent liability if the process has started. Or was a claim made outside the financial year?
Came after. So
after the closure of the financial year?
Yes.
Okay, so we hope we'll see it in the event that it still subsists. We'll see it in the next financial statements. Okay. Let's go to the KAIP, Aggregation and Industrial Park. I think there are two things there. We know the whole story around KAIPs. I hope these guys are not diverting money for KAIPs into other unproductive activities. But what has been cited by the Auditor General is lack of title deed and that the project had stalled. Let's deal with those before we get to the global issues around KAIPs. Governor, do you have a title deed for the 100-acre piece of land at Namandala in Kwanza sub-county?
Mr. Chairman, we don't have. That land is owned by the Agricultural Development Corporation, initially allocated to EPZ. And because the objective of KAIP, is tallies very, very, very closely with EPZ, we agreed to put up our KAIP there. But we're in the process of getting land ownership document in consultation with the ADC and the EPZ. But I think the last correspondent we had from EPZ, they are saying that the National Assembly must be involved. They haven't clarified how. That's why we're still having discussions with them.
Now the problem, Governor, is that you have attached a letter there addressed to ADC, but there is no evidence that there was any response to your letter.
There is a response. What is it? Mr. Chairman, I have a response here.
Is it on the file? Is it in the documents that you tabled?
No, it's not there.
So then we'll be constrained to consider evidence that is being tabled right now.
Yeah, but
you will need to present that to the Auditor General. So the issue still remains open because you don't have a title. Irrespective of the processes that you have been directed to, there is no title, and that remains a risk. The other part of it was that it had stalled.
Chairman, this project is co-funded between the county government and the national government. And these other entities are national government entities, the EPZ and the ADC. We don't feel overly worried as to whether somebody may come and claim the KIPE, because the national government is putting 250 million there and also putting 250 million shillings there.
But Governor, you know, you're a married man like me. You know that your money is your wife's, but your wife's money is not yours. So, so the argument you are giving might not be very accurate. So, if the land is for the national government, you also head a government. So, unless there is an intergovernmental agreement, because I think that's what you need to do,
Okay,
an intergovernmental agreement. Have you started pursuing that?
Or not? I've been pursuing the title deed, but I think it was an issue one.
Yeah, that's neater because it does not involve transfer of assets from one level to the other. I don't know, Patrick, what you'd advise.
Yes, Chair. What you've raised is important because with accrual accounting, there'll be need to identify the county assets. Then, at some point, they'll have to value them and put them on the face of the financial statement. So that is very, very key.
So the other limp was that the project had stalled.
Mr. Chairman, I want to confirm that the project has installed, the contractor is on site, and is proceeding. During audit, I think there was some activity they were doing away from the site. It's called fabrication. So they were fabricating certain things that have since been delivered on the ground. And if you check, you can see, actually they have been hosted already at Appendix 13A on page 80. As we speak now, the contractor is on site. He's also doing the road. At that time, there was a lot of rain. That place has a lot of black cotton soils, so it's difficult to do a road during rain season. But now, because there are no rains, he's now also doing the road.
Okay, so we keep this in view. We know the issues around KIPEs across the country. Perhaps maybe the only question we can pose to you as we exit this, and we pose it to the other governors, in your view as a governor of Trans Nzoia, is this KIPES program well conceived, well designed, properly implemented, and something of value for the people of Trans Nzoia?
On paper, yeah, but maybe practically there will be a bit of challenges. Because we are building massive structures, basically for aggregation and for value addition. What incentive do we have to encourage people to come and do all these things? And then number two, there are too many and they are too close. West Pokot has one, Trans Nzoia has, Bungoma has, Wasuzgesh has, so really, and we produce the same kind of products. So we may have a challenge when it comes to actual operationalization of these KIPEs.
The images you have shared with us show some huge warehouses that look like A-frame tents, the ones that we use in funerals. So when this program is done, will there be equipment inside, or it's just that superstructure?
Those who want to do value addition may put equipment there.
Outside the 500 million or within the 500 million?
Within. No, the 500 million is just for structures.
It's just for the warehouses?
Just for the warehouses. No equipment. It's for people who want to do value addition, will come with their equipment and we give them space to operate from those KIPEs.
Okay, members, we have heard this story from across the counties. I think the only person who was excited about KIPEs was the Governor Embu, but we also take notice that she leads the party implementing the program. So she might not have been an unbiased party.
It's not the party implementing, it's the government of Kenya.
Yeah, it's the manifesto of the party. At least the party I belong to would have thought slightly differently about this. Perhaps would have implemented them at the regional economic blocks rather than at the 47 counties.
Yeah, but under broad-based, it belongs to all of us.
You're trying to force a child on me.
Right there, Chair. That's the arrangement I was talking about.
Fine, keep this in view. It's work in progress. I'll be happy if you are done by 3. And so we will go straight to the 1.6 billion project, the Wamalwa Kijana Teaching and Referral Hospital. For 1.6 billion, what have the people of Trans Nzoia gotten? Auditor General, you had a long list of non-conformances. Please read them.
Thank you, Chair. Stalled construction of Wamarwa Teaching and Referral Hospital. As previously reported, under the county government, awarded the contract to construct the Trans Nzoia Teaching and Referral Hospital to a construction firm at a contract sum of Kenya shillings 1,602,528,713. The contract was to be implemented in 2 phases, with estimated completion period of phase 1 at 52 weeks and phase 2 62 weeks. The 350-bed facility was aimed at providing specialized medical to the public. According to records provided for audit review, phase 1 of the project was completed on 23rd July 2016. Phase 2 of the project commenced on 15th December 2018 with projected completion date of 30th September 2020. However, as at 30th June 2025, the project was incomplete and was approximated at 70% completion level, even though Kenya shillings 1,640,000,000 or approximately 1 or 2% of the contract amount had been paid. The contractor was not on site and had abandoned the project without attending to the snag list of pending works. Further, the hospital was in use with partial completion certificate. The management has been undertaking piecemeal construction of the hospital in various departments, and a total of Kenya shillings 9,659,016 was utilized in the financial year 2024-2025. In the circumstances, the value for money on the expenditure of Kenya shillings 1.64 billion incurred on the project could not be confirmed. Thank you, Chair.
Governor.
Chairman, our management report is as follows. Despite the many challenges surrounding the implementation of this project, the county government made a deliberate decision in public interest to operationalize the facility that has so far consumed 1.6 billion Kenya shillings of taxpayers' money. The contractor abandoned site at 70% completion. The management confirms utilization of 9.6 million shillings for piecemeal construction of the project, and the facility is now offering level 5 services.
So, Governor, what do you say about the 30% work that is still outstanding? Because, you know, government is government, and I think no one understands government better than you. You've been part of it. Some of us, we can build a house and move in without the windows or without the ceiling board, and we're just okay. But government is a bit different. So are we going to shut our eyes to the 30% and just proceed?
No, Mr. Chairman. Actually, we did a snack list of works that had been done, but were not done very, very well. And we also did our final accounts that revealed that the contractor had been paid more than the works done, including those ones that were on the snack list. And I think he did his math and realized, he was going to spend more money than just abandoned site. Last time we appeared before this committee, Mr. Chairman, you gave certain directions to EACC to undertake some work there. I don't know how far they have gone with that, because it's an issue that has been recurring. But we gave directions last time we were here.
Even as EACC is doing the investigations and all that, but you know that you have a facility which is 30% incomplete. You have put in 9 million, and 9 million is really almost nothing for a 1.6. Is it 1.6? Yeah, for a 1.6 billion project. Yes, we can. The EACC can deal with legacy issues, but your responsibility to deliver a dignified facility for the people of Trans Nzoia, is it something that that is before you? And maybe before you respond, we can get some.
Yeah, interesting, Chair. What does the 30% work not done constitute? Number two, this 32% extra that is paid, is it as a result of variation of the tender, or how did it come about? Because, Chair, if the 32% constitutes windows, maybe there's no paint, there are no tiles, then I would wonder if that hospital is ready for use. So maybe those would be my questions, Chair.
Senator Wambua?
Chair, I would want the governor to speak to us about the 102% paid for a project that is 70% complete. How does that sit? How was that payment made?
102 versus 70% done. Senator Chirarke?
So it means more than close to 600 million was paid without works done or something like that. But Chair, I want to agree with the entity that you had given directions to the EACC. I think before we write a report, the EACC must tell us to what is the status. Number two, on the 30%, I've seen the management response of Governor. He said he put 9.6 million for a piecemeal construction of the project. So does it mean wing of the project is functional, or you build another facility outside the same facility? What do you mean by you are now offering level 5 services? And I heard the former CS who used to come from that region, that is this the same hospital that he is saying they're having discussion on partnering towards completion, like Kakamega County Referral Hospital? Or was it not part in that region? Because I've had that issue being discussed here and there, Chair. And finally, when the committee had recommended EACC to seize the matter, that will be my final question. Is there evidence of these payments within the entity? As in, do you have documentation to show that 102% of the contract has been paid, so that even when you direct EACC to fast-track the investigation, they can be able to get some of this documentation? Chair, those will be my three clarifications.
Governor?
Yield back.
Governor?
Mr. Chairman, starting with your issue, we are not ignoring the 30%. And as a matter of fact, as we've indicated in our response, the facility is operationalized, it's working. Because when we came into government, health in Trans Nzoia had issues, because the current KCH, the current level 4 hospital, had been condemned by public health. And the only facility where we could move people was now this new one. Some areas were complete, and therefore we decided to move there and start rendering services from there. The facility has got potential of raising about 200 million shillings per year. And we knew that money under FIF, we should be able to complete that facility. But recently, as late as last week, the national government has again shown some interest in that facility. They are proposing to have it completed, and we are in those discussions. Now, the implication of 102% payment, of course, it means that the facility has been overpaid. Yeah, and that's why I think EAC should have an interest in this facility, because it's like we've gone beyond the budget, and yet the completions are just about 70%. So that we look at these issues and conclude them, because it looks like they're going to recur in the audit query for eternity if they're not sorted out once and for all.
Has EACC landed in Trans Nzoia for this project, Governor?
Not to my knowledge. Maybe they're doing, I don't know, but I'm not aware.
Chair, it would really be irresponsible for EACC when, as a committee, we direct them to go there and they don't go. Yeah.
Okay. Any other query on this? Fine. Now, I want to propose, honorable members, that so far we have queried, let me just do the maths, 6.1 billion worth of issues in Trans Nzoia. We have spent time on pending bills, 2.56 billion. The Kijana Wamalwa facility, 1.6 billion. The KIPES, 500 million. The market, 874 million. And the stadium, 657 million. That's about 6 billion out of the total expenditure or total commitments of about 9 billion in Trans Nzoia. There's only one thing which we haven't given attention to, which is the revenue. At our last meeting, we spent a lot of time on revenue, and we were going stream by stream, line by line. And we saw that in that financial year, there had been a general drop in revenue. And the county gave certain reasons, which included systems and several other factors for the drop in revenue. We shall go into the receipt of revenue statement because the remaining issues under internal controls in this main report relate to the software or the systems used in revenue collection. So we'll just go into the receipt of revenue statement and maybe just make a few broad observations. We will not go stream by stream, line by line, because under accrual, we don't have comparative figures. We don't have prior year figures. But we have asked the Parliamentary Budget Office, for purposes of our report writing, to do an analysis for us to understand whether the growth in revenue was as a result of hospital fees or it was as a result of improved efficiencies and increased economic output. I think you had a growth of about 75 million compared to the prior year. And the prior year, you had a drop of almost 30 million or thereabouts. So it's a seesaw kind of thing in Trans Nzoia, and the remaining minutes might not be adequate for us to do a comprehensive analysis. But I do hope that your written responses are detailed enough for us to be able to look at them and come up with recommendations. But before we even say we are taking that direction, I want us to go to the receipt of revenue statement, particularly the schedule that shows revenue by stream. I think now we can push our conversation to the next report, the ROR. Senator Cherage, you had...
Chair, maybe we're looking at time and efficiency. Sometimes back the county Senate ICT committee, we did a county oversight visit to Trans Nzoia County, and one of our pointers was on the issue of revenue system. Maybe in the interest of time and efficiency, as you look through the revenue streams, we can just not as an influence but as a persuasion on the ICT committee, because I have seen, Chair, skimming through the matters that has been raised by OAG, a number of them is that we flagged out during our visit to the Trans Nzoia County, especially on the ICT aspect on revenue collection. So since it is a Senate document, if the committee will find it wise to just skim through, it will also be informative, just for the information.
Yeah, it will be useful, but the governor must still respond point by point on the issues raised by the Office of the Auditor General. And since he has tabled his responses under oath, we can consider them as we are doing our recommendations to the House, and then we do the follow-up meeting. But before we exit, let's go to the statement of the receiver of revenue and maybe statement of cash flows for the year ended 30th June 2025. Chief Officer, make sure the governor has that. The statement of cash flows for the year ended 30th June 2025. Are we there? I hope you carried the detailed your detailed financial statements for the receipt of revenue. I think first of all, who is the receiver of revenue? Someone introduced themselves as the receiver of revenue in this delegation. Where is the receiver of revenue? Or just reintroduce yourself, because it is your report.
Honorable Chair, thank you for giving me this chance. My name is CPA Kirato Anjala Wanyonyi, the receiver of revenue, Trans Nzoia County.
Were you the receiver of revenue who appeared before us at the last meeting?
No, Chair. Currently, I'm just 1 month old in the section. I was appointed on 8th of January this year.
Also, Governor, you instituted changes in your revenue collection.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, fine. So I hope you took note of the comments that we made last time,
Yes.
because this committee was not very impressed with the performance of revenue. Now, since you have the mic, and we are all now going into accrual, first of all, we must observe that your opening statement, or your forward in this statement, were not comprehensive, because I think there's a template that guides you on what you should include in your forward. And in your forward, in other counties, you have seen they are doing an analysis of trends, even over 5 years. Well, you've done an analysis, but you have put a graph. Is that a bar graph, or what do you call that?
It's a bar graph.
A bar graph. So if I was marking your work, I would give you 4 out of 10 in terms of the forward, including the CC. The CC also has done a forward. Ideally, that forward, we should read it and get a clear picture of the measures you are taking, how things are growing, the challenges that you are experiencing, without going too deep into the financial statement. So please improve on that, because I believe that the Standards Board has provided a template. Secondly, I wanted your interpretation on when you say you collected 23.9 million on land rates. On land rates. I hope you have your statement. 23.999597. That's a statement of cash flows for the year ended 30th June 2025 under the receiver of revenue statement.
Page
Page 3.
3, yeah. And Chair, as he prepares to answer, if you notice in this page number 3, out of 543,894,663, hospital fees accounts for close to 250 million. That is half. And under FIF, of course, it will be treated different.
Yeah, that's
so maybe
almost
they can,
46%.
That's almost 56%. 46%. So it shows around 250 million out of 543 million. I don't think that's a growth, because if you look at the rivers, it looks like there is high disease burden. So you can attribute, well, now that we have passed the Facility Improvement Act, it will be treated differently. So maybe you can bring out that aspect on that revenue.
Okay. So the limitation we have with this report is that we don't have prior year, because prior year was cash, this is accrual. So I wanted to ask you, receiver of revenue, the land rate that you have reported as 23.9 million, is that accrued or is that cash?
Thank you. Honorable Chair, that is on cash basis.
So I thought we had moved to accrual basis.
True, but we are still within the transition period, which runs up to end of the next financial year. So we are still adopting.
No, there were 3 milestones.
Yes.
So in year 1, weren't we supposed to report our receiver of revenue on accrual? Because we know what is done in year 1, year 2, and year 3.
Thank you, Chair. In year 1, it was on assets and liabilities. And then in year 2, also we have what we are supposed to consider. So that is what we are doing Yeah, Honorable Chair.
I think you're missing the point because you're trying to dodge.
Okay.
Or you're trying to defend. You are not sure what is coming next.
Okay.
I'm not asking this question out of malice. I'm asking this question to demonstrate something. Auditor, as per the standard, this year land rates, for example, were they supposed to be accrued or they are supposed to be the actual cash that was collected? Treasury?
Chair, since this is a cash flow, it must be the actual cash. But when you go to the budget, they must do it on accrual basis.
I thought it was the other way around. The Standards Board told us that budgets are on cash and this other one is on accrual. Remember the gentleman from Standards Board, and that question was asked by Senator Wambua, asking how do you accrue cess, for example? How do you accrue market revenue?
But Chair, since this is a cash flow, actual cash moving, they must be in cash.
Treasury, so fine. I mean, are you saying that because we are looking at the statement of cash flow? So then let's look at statement of revenue. Does the same argument hold?
So Chair, so that we understand this, it's a bit confusing, and I kept saying this. Treasury, so you're saying that under this new system, we will have, what, a hybrid, where when you're reporting on receipt of revenue, you go cash. When you're reporting on maybe expenditure by executive, you do accrual. I mean, how is this supposed to be?
Chair, the revenue that we receive, when you are reporting now in the statements, like in the position, when you come back to the position, it must be accrual because you have to carry this balance even to the balance sheet that you are carrying to the other year. But for the cash flow, when anytime you draw a cash flow, it means the actual cash you have and account.
You know, you are splitting hairs. So that's why I said let's go to the statement of revenue and disbursements. It's the same figure. It's 23.99. The reason why I raise this is these clever people, the technicians around the governor, are now required to report in accrual, but there could be certain challenges. We might ask them questions that are not practical. Because our understanding was that when you accrue land rates as a revenue stream, you are basically taking all the titles, all the rateable land in Trans Nzoia, and applying your valuation role, and you come up with a figure like, I think your land arrears is 13 billion, 12 billion. So you are supposed to report 12 billion. Yes. As your accrued revenue. Then we'll ask you, fine, you have reported 12 billion, show us how you used it. And then you'll start scratching your head. Is that the wrong interpretation of using the example of land rates on accrual basis?
Chair, it's not wrong. The issue is, the accrued one, they are saying that there are some people who own them money, they have not paid. So they should work hard to correct that money because it's their own. And that's why it's going to the revenue statement. But now when you come to the cash flow, there must be a cash that they were given. So when you check the two, the accrual and the cash, we'll be able to know the total amount that was supposed to be earned that year as land rate.
So what will we be using to communicate to the public that our own source revenue has grown? Is it the accrued or the cash?
For now, they can only use cash because that's the amount that will be in operation in the area.
I want the end of the transition period, what will we be using?
The close of the financial year or
Transition after the 3 years.
After the 3 years, even the accrual must be carried to the other year. The transition period is to make them settle in accrual. And so by the end of the third year, they should be fully in accrual and knowing where to take things. The reason why they were given the 3 years, it's that like assets could not be picked in the first year. They must go picking till the third year. So by the third year, they should be sure what are their pending bills because they can't change again. They should be knowing which are their assets. And now the government will go full and say this is what the government is worth. If it's the county government of Trans Nzoia, they will say this is what you are worth.
Senator Wambua, you can explain it to me in English.
No. I think I'm more lost than you are. So, Kanata, let's go back to what the chair is talking about, land rates. So, there's accrued revenue, that 1 billion, 2 billion, whatever it is. But when it comes to reporting on cash flow, the real money that money has been collected, of course there will be a variance. So how do you treat the difference?
Yes, officer.
Yes. On full transition to accrual basis, we are going to invoke various computations. One being proper evaluation of the accounts receivables that we'll be holding as at that time. And by evaluation is that we will be reporting based on a conviction that we are very certain this is the amount of money we are going to realize from land rates, for example. So it will be incumbent upon us to demonstrate in the subsequent financial years why we have not been able to realize this. Let me give you a classic example. Like our rates now, the principal is actually, I don't know whether it is over 8 million. But when you look at the accumulated penalties and interests, it has taken it to 12 billion. So as we now transition to fully accrual reporting basis, we must ensure we do a proper evaluation of our accounts receivables to the extent that they are realizable, so that we can report what actually can be tested in future and can also be based on in terms of budgeting, because we'll be having a revenue budget and the actual realize. So the actual realize is what we now report through the cash flows, because that is net cash inflows. Of course, we'll also have cash outflows arising from the efforts or the expenditures that we have incurred in realization of that revenue. Thank you, Chair.
Good explanation, but clarify this again. So are you seeing a situation in this path where at some point then the accrued revenue and the cash realized are the same?
Chair, let me handle this. If you are a landlord, you know, by the start of the month, you have some people that you know that will give you money. At the end of the month, you'll not get the full rent. So what you did at the start of the year, it's your accrued income, what you thought you would get or what you think you'd get. But by the end of the month, you know.
That's ideal, right?
Yes.
That's ideal.
Very good example. Yeah, proceed.
That's what I mean. By the end of the month, what you'll do, you'll say, this is what I expected, that is the accrued. When you get now to your bank account, you say, this is my cash flow. This is what I got from the tenants who paid you. That's how the government is acting. You will not forget those people who did not pay you this month. You still carry the balance to the other year. And that's why when you go to the balance sheet, you'll get payables, receivables. You'll put them as your receivables because you are hoping to get that money. There are people you own money by the end of the month. You never pay them because you never got money from your tenant. So why would you call them my receivables? I am hoping to get this, my payables. I'm hoping people to pay me this month.
So which one do you use to budget? Is it what you expect to receive or what you actually receive?
What you expect to receive.
Then there'll always be huge budget deficits.
And that's why we have receivables and the payables in the balance sheet, because you are open to, you hoped to get, but you did not get.
So yes, I know this matter is complicated. Even our friends in the media.
I wanted to clear his curiosity because I wanted to clear his curiosity because actually he has raised a very valid concern. At the level at which we cannot be able to equate the cash, real cash received from the expected cash of the receivables. The policies in accrual accounting are very clear that after they give you about 3 years, through which you must demonstrate the efforts you have put in to recover your debt. In the event that you cannot be able to recover the debt, the policy allows you to write off a percentage of that debt which you are not able to recover, and that same percentage will not be used in budgeting process, and it will clear off from the books subsequently.
This thing, I don't know. It's okay. We'll get there if we will. But you see what you're saying? If you're budgeting on the basis of accrued revenue, the ideal, no, you're budgeting on an ideal. But the actual, the realized revenue is a completely different, it could actually be a quarter of what you're imagining. So how do you run entities that way?
I'm imagining that at the end of the third year, if you're saying that's when we would implement accrual basis fully. He has mentioned that for land rates, the money that's they're supposed to collect is 12 billion. So instead of 23 billion, we'd have 12 billion, 23 million. That is too much. So how would you budget with that?
It's an ideal, you know, that's the thing.
Yeah, that's why some organizations do paper profits, because they change the basis of accounting, and then all of a sudden profits emerge. I think CPA Tunga, at the end of this meeting, as a representative of ISPAC, you should grant all of us, including the governor, the foundation level certification in CPA, because now we are understanding this thing. It will take time, and I think that's why everyone is being retrained, including the CPAs themselves, and even the FCPAs are being retrained on this. Senator Cherargei, your light is on. Yes. Maybe prosecute, and then we
Chair, I heard when you
directions.
were talking about comparison in page number 4 on receiver of revenue. I think what we ruled last year, and I think we need to revisit our own directions, that the revenue collection in Trans Nzoia is doing badly, and I don't know why. Maybe the system or something. Because, for example, the one we had picked on land rates, the original target was 50 million. There was this, I can just go to the stream so that members understand, to this stream below 90% realization. You're asking about land rates. The argument is lack of valuation role, amnesties and waivers, delay in automating the stream. That is the reason they are not getting the target. On single business permit, there is weak enforcement, only a proportion of business are marked. But from the responses of the governor, if you look at it, the receiver of revenue.
Through the chair, where are you reading?
I'm reading from page number 4 on receiver of revenue. Your report, financial statement.
The General's report.
Auditor General's report. And these are the notes that I've attached to your by Musungo Emmanuel. And you have been around for some time. So, looks like you are doing a good job, or either you are crafty. Chair, let me, the lack rates, lack of valuation. Then on parking fee, I remember when we came, and he was in that meeting, by the way, Emmanuel and Pepela, the lack of strong enforcement of parking fee. And you can see the missing target. I'm just quickly, Chair, for the interest property rent, they say tenants default because they know they'll never be evicted. Then on the hospital fees, I agree, because maybe inability to pay. I think on that one, we can agree that sometimes payment of hospital fees sometimes is for some population. And then finally, and we have share who can take care of it. Can I be protected from the incoming governor of Kitui?
Yeah, please, let's move.
I don't know why it's energetic while everybody sugar is low.
Let's execute
Physical
faster,
planning and this will be the last one, lack of appropriate policies to enforce the penalty. So the question, the reason you are not meeting the target in a global view on this revenue, which we raised when the governor and his team appeared, is because of some small things that should have been tied up to improve. And that is why I want to listen to the governor. This automation and automation of revenue, how far is it and does it have value? Because like valuation role, for example, Chair, is something that the county should have done. Like the issue of property rent. Why is he saying that people know that they will not be evicted, for example? What is the strategies in place to improve on collection of revenue? And it is in page 4 of their own financial statements. Chair, yield back.
Now, I want the county to respond, and then I'll give directions on how to proceed with the other detailed issues in the report. Governor?
Mr. Chairman, of course, if not there been an improvement in terms of our revenue figures, that goes to demonstrate that however little it is, there's effort in the right direction to ensure that actually we achieve our targets, even for the subsequent years. For me, the major issue has been land rates, because we did not have a rating under the Evaluation Act of the County Assembly, which was finalized this week. Actually, I just ascended to it 2 days ago. I believe you are going to update our evaluation role, because the figures we are using now are 2006 figures and they are very, very, very low. So I believe the next financial year we're going to have tremendous improvement in terms of land rent. These other areas of parking fee, again, they're just simple administrative issues that as a county we are addressing. And now I think we are fully automated. All our revenue streams are embedded in the system. So we have reduced the interaction between our staff and cash, which sometimes leads to unnecessary temptations.
Now, members, there are a lot of details in this report, which if we take the written responses from the county, when we retreat to do our recommendations to the House, we'll be able to do a stream-by-stream analysis, as we had already asked the Parliamentary Budget Office to do. We'll be able to look at the systems environment and borrow from the report of the ICT committee. We'll be able to analyze the effect of accrual accounting on the numbers that you are reporting, and we'll also be able to get update from the EACC, because I think at the last meeting we spent a lot of time on on-source revenue, and there were certain streams where we felt the EACC needed to investigate. So we will send a comprehensive report. You have had the right to reply, and your right to reply has been through your written responses. Then once the recommendations go to the House adopts them, we shall follow up implementation of our recommendations. Is there any other very significant matter for us to address with regards to the reports for Trans Nzoia, considering that the process will send a report to the House will make a resolution, then the clerk of the Senate will communicate to you on the resolutions of the House, then we'll call you again in June, July for an implementation review. So this is not the last time we are having this conversation. If time allows, in between, we can also do a visit to the county so that we can see these multi-billion projects that are in the audit reports.
Just a small thing, Chair, here.
Senator Maruma.
The reasons for non-realization of the targets, what Senator Cherargei was reading, the first one was for land rates. The reasons were, number one, lack of valuation role. Number two, amnesties and waivers. And the other one was delay in automating the stream. Now, what I don't know, Governor, is amnesties and waivers. Are they supposed to be a reason of non-realization of the targets? Because amnesties and the waivers are given as an incentive to collect more. So when you place it here, how would you consider it when you're writing our report? Because I thought this is supposed to be an incentive, not a deterrent to collect more money. So do you want us to expurge it from here? Or how do you want us to treat it?
It's a potential incentive. Some people don't take it, and we're given the waiver and they don't pay. So the amounts remain outstanding. And I think we have just given one waiver, and there was no significant improvement in revenues. And as I've said, the problem with land rates has been lack of enabling legislation, which now we have done and we start implementing it.
Okay, so Senator, we will not expunge it because that's on the body of the financial statement of the receiver of revenue statement. But what we'll consider is whether it makes sense, whether it justifies, because there could be other reasons like people billing, collecting, but not reporting. So we'll look at that in totality. With that, we come to the end of our consideration of the ROR, the report of the executive. I wish the county assembly was here so that we could agree on a few things, but they still have their constitutional mandate to consider these reports because the constitution allows them up to the end of March to do so. Is there any other observation on the part of the OAG?
Yes, Chairman.
Yes.
For the report for 24-25, towards the end, there's an appendix for unresolved prior matters. There were 27 issues arising from 23-24. And your report had 61 recommendations. I want to report that the OAG was able to circularize all the recommendations, and we have a response from the entity. So that report is under preparation on the follow-up report.
Okay. And once it's ready, does it first come to us or it goes to them?
It will come to you, Chairman.
It comes to us. Then we can attach it to the report we are taking to the House.
Yes, Chairman.
Okay. Any other business? I think control of budget. Please take this very, very seriously, that the gratuity that is due to employees of the former government must be prioritized in terms of requisitions that are made.
Thank you, Chair. I've taken note of that. So that information will be passed over to the controller.
Okay. There being no other business, I will ask the governor to make his closing remarks.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any closing remarks, just an observation. The first time we came here, we were really reminded on the need of having gender balance in equity. But I know today that this is a committee of men.
Governor, I gave you an opportunity to make your closing remarks. I will rule you out of order. Anything else, Governor? This meeting is therefore adjourned. We meet tomorrow in the morning at 9:30. Msafiri salama.